All right, happy Monday, everyone. What is the ketogenic diet? What is ketosis? So I thought realistically I would kind of slow my roll down and really just go and explain a little bit more in detail what exactly ketones or ketosis is, how it works, why it's so effective, and really try to get it so that people can understand more about the education piece, because I think that is some of the misconception is that people just aren't understanding. So I'm going to do that. If you have any questions throughout this, please just shoot a message and I will try to answer it. If I don't know it, I will find out the answer for you. But basically, we have two fuel sources. So our bodies, we can run on glucose, which is sugar. So when our body eats carbohydrates, so it doesn't matter if it's like pasta, bread, cereals, or a chocolate bar. If it's a carbohydrate, when our body consumes it, our body breaks that down and turns it into glucose. So you're effectively a sugar burner. And using sugar for energy can be fine in moderation, but when we start doing that every day, 7 days a week, 52 weeks a year, year over year, it can cause a lot of inflammation and a lot of, health issues. So we can also, our bodies can run on glucose, but we can also run on ketones. And ketones is when our body breaks down fat for energy. So instead of breaking down carbohydrates, we're now breaking down fats. So it could be fats in your food like avocados, coconut oil, fattier cuts of fish or meat. Our bodies can break that down into ketones. So it's just another fuel source. So I know there's just, I hear every day hear so many miscommunications. So I just want people to really understand why it's so much better. If you think about it from an evolutional standpoint, we were designed to run on fat. So carbohydrates, if you ate natively, if you just ate when carbohydrates were in season, you'd only have them for a couple months before winter so that you could store some fat so you could get through winter. The problem is winter never comes. So we are just constantly always packing on the weight. And sugar is the root of all evil. It causes inflammation, and almost all of today's problems are because of inflammation. So whether or not it is ADHD, autism, all the different brain conditions, there's so many things like arthritis, any of the itises are from inflammation, and too much inflammation is just in our bodies, we're all metabolically different, so it's all going to be expressed differently on what it comes out as. So for me personally, if I eat a lot of carbohydrates, I get migraines, I get insomnia, I get depression, I get anxiety. So I have to be very careful. So I started reading about this, it must be over 4 years ago, and anybody who really knows me knows that I love research and I love finding out how, why it all works. But so for me, I have read a ton of books, I have done so much information on it. And when you literally, if you were to just stop and literally look at our society and look at how we're all running, people are sicker than ever. And yet, we've got more drugs than ever, we've got more hospitals, more walk-in clinics, but yet we're sicker. It really, our diets, our stress, our lack of sleep, there's so many things that contribute to it, but I honestly do think diet is the number one cause to so many things. Yes, Jackie, I know I do love my research and I love sharing it. So anyway, so it has been an eye-opener for me, and the more I talk to people and the more, it does, frustrate me. I'm not going to lie. When I see people that I know have a lot of inflammation and they don't really technically trust, the process that ketones can do so much for them. And yet every day I hear them and they're like, oh my gosh, I'm tired, I ache, I don't feel good. And I know that if they just did some small tweaks to their diet and started moving more and doing things, they would see huge results in their overall health. So What exactly? So the ketogenic diet is when you're going lower in carbs, so we're not going to run on glucose anymore, and we're going to go higher in fats. So it's very hard to wrap your head around because we have been trained, like just the education process for the last 80 years has just been really fat causes fat. And it couldn't be further from the truth. Too much glucose, your body makes insulin to store it for later, because think of glucose just like Goldilocks. Like you want your glucose between like 4 to 6, right? Like a nice, not too high, not too low, just right. So we're all consuming, not all, but a lot of people in North America are eating way too many carbohydrates. So then when we have too much glucose, our pancreas makes insulin to store it for later. It is storing it in the fat cell for later. The problem is that we're eating every so many hours, so we never get to what we're storing. Your body's trying to protect you. And then over time, you start making more and more insulin, your pancreas gets tired, so it starts pumping up more, and then you get too low blood sugars. And that's why people today are getting like the 3 o'clock like slump of no energy. It's because their pancreas has made so much insulin that then they don't have enough glucose for energy, so then they're feeling low. When you start running on fats, your blood sugars regulate, so you just have a nice, even, good energy source. It's not too high, it's not too low. So I'm telling you, if you just do the research, if you're looking for better health, this is it. There's the science, the research, the proof is there. Natively, it's how we lived for thousands and thousands of years, and they did not have the conditions or metabolic issues that they have today. So there's also a ton of athletes who are now really starting to understand the benefits. And if you think about athletes, majority of the time, athletes are very healthy and they're always looking and striving for better. They're already really good, but they're now starting to see the benefits of using ketones or ketosis for energy. Because if you take it, say like a marathon runner, so most marathon runners for years would carb load before a run so that they would have that, but they can only store, like roughly, we're all different, but around 2,000 calories in glucose. So once you have more than that, your body has to store that as fat. So marathon runners would have to, once they got so far, it's called bonking, so they would run so long, and if they didn't take like a shot of honey or some type of glucose during the run, they would bonk and have no energy, so they would have to replenish it. So marathon runners and a lot of endurance athletes are starting to realize that if they can get fat adapted, so instead of being a sugar burner, if they can get fat adapted, that they have thousands of calories of fat on them, so they're not going to bonk during their run, so that they'll just keep going and they've got all of that good fuel source that they're carrying, and they're going to burn that for their run. So it's from anywhere. So it's not just, ketones aren't just for people who like have health conditions. To me, it's just realistically how everybody should be running on. We should just be using ketones as fuel. If you're eating some carbs and you go over to using glucose, that's fine. Just then you're going to switch back and go back into ketones, and you're going to get the benefits. So ketones, clinically, the research is showing ketones actually inhibit inflammation. So majority of our health issues today are because of some sort of inflammation. So, just go around, ask anybody how they feel. They're tired, they've chronic pain. There's more and more people with like Crohn's, colitis, fibromyalgia, just chronic pain, just depression, anxiety. All of those things are coming from inflammation. So sugar is feeding inflammation. Ketones actually inhibit inflammation. So when you start cutting out the sugar and stopping inflammation and start adding ketones and reducing it, you are really like bringing that scale over so that you are going to see dramatic health improvements. It doesn't happen overnight. And so I know people sometimes will get frustrated. I have people all the time, and they get maybe day 2 or day 3 and they're messaging me, and I don't know what to say. It's not going to happen overnight. None of this, you didn't get to the situation where you're at overnight, so it's not going to reverse overnight. That being said, my concussion did happen overnight. It literally happened in a matter of seconds. I was biking, so that trauma did happen very quickly, but it took me a long time to reverse all of those issues and really get my health back under control. But because I understood the research and the science, I was patient, and I knew that I just had to trust the process and keep going. That being said, if tomorrow, if I were to eat a bunch of pizza and to be stressed and not sleep, am I going to see some of those symptoms come back? Yes, because I'm not fueling my body properly. So it is a process. It does work every single time. So the benefits are, so using ketones is a better energy source. So your brain is going to prefer it, your heart, all of your organs and all of your cells. They're showing at a mitochondrial level. So mitochondria is like the powerhouse of the cell. It's where you get your energy. Is your body actually prefers fats or ketones. So in order to make healthy cells, you physically need healthy fats. So I'm not talking trans fats and like vegetable oils, canola oils, those types of things. I'm talking really good, healthy fats. So that's one thing I should kind of mention. Like any diet, it can be done unhealthy. So I have seen people do ketogenic diets and do it very healthy. Are they doing low carb, high fat? Yes, but they're doing really unhealthy fats. So that's not good. And I always say it's almost like a vegetarian who doesn't eat vegetables, right? So you can do any diet. It doesn't necessarily mean that it's healthy. So we're eating a ton of vegetables. Like I try to have at least one large salad a day. And then on my other meal, it's still a ton of either roasted vegetables or raw vegetables of some sort. So we want a lot of really good, healthy vegetables, some healthy proteins, and healthy fats. If you want to know exactly, I have a list that I can send you of exactly, where to start from. So by all means, message me and I can get you that list. But I just want you to realize that any diet can be done unhealthy. Any diet you can get deficiencies in. So that is up to the individual on what they're using in that to make their macros. So that's the most important. So ketones do reverse a lot of things. I have personally seen so many testimonies of reversing type 2 diabetes. Ketones do help regulate blood sugars. And when you are stopping the carbs and stopping the blood sugars raising, you are going to reverse your type 2 diabetes. Now, it's not going to happen overnight, but it is going to happen. So you just have to, go slow, go steady, really, make sure you're drinking lots of water, make sure you're taking care of yourself. But done properly, you can do dramatic improvements. We've also seen, I've seen testimonies I have so many friends with, some type of either fibromyalgia or arthritis, any chronic pains. One of my really good friends, he had chronic back pain for 17 years. And, he started drinking the product. He's now gone on a ketogenic diet as well. But if it wasn't for this product, I don't know if he had so much pain, and carbohydrates really are like a comfort food. When people are in a lot of pain, they don't want to go and eat a bag of broccoli. Let's get real. You want to go and eat a bucket of ice cream or a bag of chips or French fries or something more comforting. So when you can, get ketones and start flushing that out, you're going to then start feeling better and you're going to start wanting to do more and all of that. So it's just really going to dramatically improve those things. So, we have just seen, so some of the testimonies, I have some of my really good friends who have they just feel like they're a better mom. They're like, I have better energy. I'm not yelling at my kids. I feel better. I, feel a little sexier. I don't have as big of love handles. I'm just, fitting into my clothes better. So it can just be smaller success stories for somebody, and then it can be so dramatic for somebody else. I have another one of my mother's really good friends. She was drinking it and she had really bad knee problems and had, struggling going up and down stairs. And then she started drinking the ketones and I slowly helped her with her diet. And everybody at work wanted to know what it was she was doing. And she wouldn't tell anyone because she was so paranoid, because sometimes people are negative and they have, want to dampen other people's like successes. So she was just like, you know what, I'm feeling so good, I don't even want to hear anybody else's things, and I don't care. I feel amazing. I think she's 66, I believe, and she hasn't felt this good in 20 some years. Her blood sugars are down. Her arthritis in her knees is amazing. Like, she just cannot believe the difference in her overall health. She's off all of her medications and she's just feeling amazing. So it works. It's just people have to give it time and really trust the process. And that's one of the things I love, is kind of just working with people and helping them, because we are all different and we all adapt differently. Some people it happens in 10, 15, 20 days, and other people it can take a month or two. So you just have to trust it and you have to understand it. But I'm always here to help anyone with their journey, wherever it is that they want to go on. So some of the ways, so to get into a state of ketosis is to go on a really low carb, high fat diet. For some people, they still kind of struggle, and we sometimes will recommend like intermittent fasting. So to maybe stop eating at like 8 or 9 o'clock at night, and then the next morning get up and don't take any calories in until later in the day. So you can still have a coffee, you could drink ketones, those types of things, but you don't want to like have any calories that would interrupt a fast, so that you're kind of bringing it down, and it can really, really help you to get into a higher level. So you get into adaptation, into being a fat burner quicker. But I do find personally, it's funny because I have people that they're like, oh, you're just recommending to drink ketones because you sell it. And it couldn't really be farther from the truth. The only reason why I promote it is because I know that this is a game changer. I know that this really does help so many people. So I could easily make money a million other ways. It's just I've actually chosen to help people and do it this way. Trust me, this is a lot harder to tell people about, what to do with their diet, when to sleep, when to do things, and try to help people. This is a lot harder than other things I could be doing. But anybody who knows me knows where my heart is and knows that I really do want to help people. So the product does work, and it is dramatic. And for me, I did the ketogenic diet for 2 years, and I did have a lot of health improvements, but I still had a ton of health issues that I couldn't seem to get my ketones high enough to really help. So for me, by drinking it, it has completely pushed up my levels high enough that it has dramatically improved my health. So I know it works, and I've seen it for so many other people. So I just feel that I'd be selfish not to share it and not to help other people when I know the state of the health of our population, and I know that I can help so many people. So that's why I do it. I know it works, but anyway, I just thought I would jump on. I know there's a ton of information and a ton of misunderstandings on what ketones are, what the benefits are of them. So I am going to just shout it from the rooftop on how much this product can help people and why and how it works, so that these negative naysayers who are they just don't understand the research and the science behind it. But ketones are a better fuel source. They help us to be better people, and they work every time. So I am super fired up about it and love helping people. So yes, thanks Natasha, thanks Jackie. I know I've seen it work for you guys as well. Like the health improvements are dramatic, and I don't know, we just keep seeing it every day. So awesome. Well, anyway, I hope everybody does keto on and learn a lot more about the benefits of it, and enjoy the rest of your Monday night. Thanks.